Introducing Metabolic Health. Never heard of it? You're not alone. Most people who come to me for help haven't either. So, what is metabolic health? Well, essentially, it describes how well your body is able to make, store, and use energy. And if it's not able to do this well, nothing else will work effectively. But you might not notice that there's a problem with your metabolic health for years because the changes happen slowly and our bodies are amazing at making do, even when we aren't treating them well. Right up until one day when perhaps you get diagnosed with high blood pressure or pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, or worse still, maybe you have a heart attack or a stroke. So, how would you know if there was a problem with your metabolic health? Well, here are some of the signs and symptoms that you can look out for. They're not all here because there are so many, but let's just go through some of the things that you might notice. You might find that you are often hungry and that you suffer with what I call hangriness. So, when you need to eat, you need to eat. And you also need to eat quite regularly, or you feel quite unwell. And you notice that your mood is very dependent on getting enough food. You might also find that you really struggle with cravings and low energy. You might just not be satisfied even after having eaten a big meal. You might find that you are seeing fat go on around your middle. Regardless of whether you're a woman or a man, the fat associated with poor metabolic health will tend to be around the middle part of your body. Your doctor might already have told you that you've got a fatty liver or that you've got high blood pressure. You might be really struggling with a foggy brain. It just feels like everything's on a go slow and you just can't think straight. You might not be sleeping well. If you're a man, you might find that you are developing man boobs. Women often find that PMT is extra bad. Polycystic ovary syndrome is thought to be very associated with poor metabolic health. And also, that transition through into menopause as women, it's much harder if your metabolic health isn't great. So why is this happening to you? Because it's just not fair, is it? Well, here's some of what we know, and as ever, it's more complex than this, but these are some of the basics. So if what you eat and drink causes your insulin levels to mostly be raised higher than is healthy, that is eventually going to take you on that path towards metabolic syndrome. If you move very little and the gym is not your only option to change this situation, taking a walk, taking the stairs, doing something like yoga or Pilates, lifting weights, all sorts of things are ways to get your body moving more. Stress is a huge individual, independent contributor to the movement towards metabolic syndrome. So that's chronic stress in your life. Genetics, we know that genetics have an impact, and interestingly, genetics are the only one of these causes that can't be changed. We know that inflammation is caused by some of the foods and drinks that we consume and is also an independent risk factor for causing insulin resistance, and insulin resistance is what then leads to metabolic syndrome. I can't hope that's understandable. So let's go back to the good news, because there is good news. You can fix your metabolic health and you don't have to continue to suffer. How you feel at the moment is not an inevitable part of getting older. As your metabolic health improves, your body will release that stored fat that perhaps you're really keen to get rid of. But what you should know is, if your reason for being interested in this in the first place is because you've noticed that you have gained weight And the more accurate way to put that would be to have gained excess body fat and you'd like to see some of it go. Know that that's a symptom. It's not the cause, it is a symptom of poor metabolic health. So when you address the underlying cause, when you do the things that you need to do to fix your metabolic health, you will see the fat start to reduce without you having to really focus on it and feel overly restricted, hungry all the time, and really deprived. You'll naturally see your waistbands get looser, but I think more importantly, you will just feel so much better overall. And I repeatedly hear this from my clients. So, how do you fix it? Well, I have just tried to keep this very simple. So here are the top points. Minimize the ultra processed foods in your diet. And it is difficult to work out what an ultra processed food is. The definition is not clear, but that's one of the things that we talk about in the online community that I run. Maximize the amount of animal protein that you eat. Protein is so important. It is full of really, really important nutrients that your body needs to work well, but it also will have an incredible impact on your appetite by reducing it. Stop fearing fat. It is not fat that makes us fat. It is not fat that makes us sick. It's the sugar, the ultra processed foods, and the other refined, starchy carbohydrates. So minimize sugars and refined, starchy foods and drinks. And you could try adding in fasting in a way that suits you. And finally, but actually I think it should be top of the list, is start learning, start understanding how your feelings affect your food choices. So getting the right information to help you to heal your health is a really important part of this puzzle, but making these changes, navigating the hurdles and sticking to the changes consistently, that's the hard bit. This isn't about going on a diet. This is about learning to eat and live so that you can thrive into your 50s and beyond. And I'm just going to say, when I was looking for a graphic of older people, I was really, really struck by how difficult it is to find graphics of old people who look fit and mobile. There were loads of graphics when you put in old people in wheelchairs with walking sticks or bent over, or they're all fat. Really interesting what our social norms have become. So helping you to make those changes is where I come in. My passion is helping you to take back control of your health by exploring what you eat, but most importantly, why you eat. The big changes in lifelong behaviors happen when you begin to understand what is driving them. And as a counselor and a nutritional therapist, I feel really qualified to help you make these changes. If you would like to find out more about how to work with me, you can call on 07496 445 739, or you can email me at mel@melmartinnutrition.com. Thanks for listening.